this morning was this, which is a gamma ray log. However, this gamma ray log was taken of the outcrop we're going to go see. It's 1,000 feet of stratigraphy, and the instrument we use to do that is this. It's a scintillometer or a Geiger counter. It's a sophisticated one. All you do, it's quite simple. I've turned it on. All you do is hold it against the rock. There's a detector here, a crystal inside this housing, and it will measure the emission of gamma rays from the rock. And so all you do is hold it against the rock, and it's got a digital recorder here, and it records the gamma ray readings in CPS units, count per second, not API units. Counts per second is the unit of measure. So what we do, like what we did here in this outcrop, is we would take a measurement, and then we would go up 2 feet, take another one, go up 2 more feet, take another one, and so on. And the section we're going to go through is almost 1,000 feet. So we ended up with this gamma ray scintillometer that's in counts per second from 500 sandy to 2,300, which is shaly. I'm not going to take this in there, but I did want you to show it, and I'll show it to you again Saturday morning when we're up against some rocks real close.
How much is it?
How much it cost? About $6,000, $7,000.
You want a couple?
At any rate, really the objective of this exercise is if you were going to interpret the stratigraphy from a well log. Only here we've got the outcrop to help you. It's just like having a core, only a big thick core that we'll see here, okay? So that's the object. As John pointed out, he had you build a little table here to take individual or large stratigraphic intervals and describe them briefly, and then put them into a sequence framework, whether it's a high stand to sea level or a low stand. I'm going to work with you. If we all stick together, I can guide you along, and John can, and Ramona still will be mumbling about how fast, how much. That's not ladylike, Ramona, what you just did.
I said yes.
Oh, I thought that was another finger.
No.
Excuse me. Okay, so at any rate, that's what we're going to go see. Now, and that's, I will point out that a Shell Oil Company drilled a well about 8 miles away, an exploration well several years ago. And here's the gamma log from the exploration well, about 8 miles away. And we have been able to correlate this sequence of rocks in the quarry with the well. And it's too bad that Shell didn't take a trip out here first, because they would have seen that even though you've got a lot of sand, there's not a drop of porosity in these rocks. So once again, we're looking at architecture and characteristics of the rocks, just like you did in core, and how it relates to the log response. And don't worry about porosity and permeability, because you won't find any. Okay, so one could correlate the strat. I don't think it would be very difficult for you to match up this interval with that and so on. The other couple of diagrams I want to show you in your handout was this one. We are right here. This is a topographic map. We are right here in what is called the DeGray Spillway, and we're going to walk the stratigraphic section. The beds strike this way, and they dip about 55 degrees to the south. Here is south. The beds are dipping 55 degrees to the south. South is that way, so when we go up the quarry, you'll see the beds dipping that way, tectonically tilted after deposition. We can trace these rocks here for miles, and in fact, years ago, we did just that. We measured a bunch of outcrops of the same stratigraphic interval. We built a 3D model, and we did simulation on that. Ramona and I and Ramona's boss did that way back in 2000 or something, and we published a paper. That was the first time we ever did simulation on an outcrop, pretending it's a reservoir. And that's been published. This is the outcrop gamma ray log again, and here is from a well that was drilled many miles away, many miles away, almost to Oklahoma. And it is possible to correlate from here to there. So these sand bodies we're going to see today, even though we're just going to get like a vertical section of them, they are laterally continuous for miles, these. Keep that in mind. We won't see that. If we had time, we could actually walk to some other outcrops and trace the same beds for a very long distance. But all we've got is the vertical well log and the rocks to describe. And as we go along, I'm going to relate back to this rising sea level, falling sea level, and the types of deposits that you would find, so that at the end of the day, you can build that sea level curve that John mentioned. So, I won't show this. Oh man, I'm getting old here. It's hard to bend down. You guys are working me too hard. Where we are in the basin, where we were at Big Rock was up here in a feeder canyon. Yesterday and the day before at Hollywood, we were kind of in one of these smaller channels out on the fan. Today we're out on the fan proper, where we get good lateral continuity of the beds. Okay, everybody see where we are today? We're going to be out here somewhere, where we get good lateral continuity of the beds. These make the best potential reservoir rocks in a deep water sequence. So what we've been doing to this point is looking at channels. Now we're going to look at nice laterally continuous sheets, low stand fan, whatever you want to call them. I like sheets or lobes.
Sheets, lobes, or fans?
Fans. I like sheets and lobes because fans can also have channels in them, just like here's your fan, but it's got channels in it and sheets. So that's why I break it out. I don't like the word fan. The whole feature is a fan, but it's got channels and sheets. And remember what I said last night, that your productivity, your well performance will differ between a channel or a sheet. So if you drill a well into that channel, you're going to have different reservoir performance than if you drill in between the channels out on the sheets. So it is important to differentiate. Okay? Well, why don't we do it then?
One logistical thing. Those of you who have compasses, give them to someone who hasn't had a compass. And the people who haven't had compasses, I want them taking some readings on these beds. Real good beds to take strike and dips on. So the people who haven't had a chance to use the compass, I want those people to get a chance. So switch your compasses.
One other point. As we go up there, you're going to start asking me, where are we? When we look at the rocks, you're going to say, where are we on the log? And I will shout that out when you have that question where you don't know where you are on the log relative to the outcrop, and I will shout out the answer to you in footages, okay? Because you will find you'll get lost in where you are in the outcrop on the well log.
Where do you want us to stage to for first stop?
Huh?
Where do you want us to stop first?
Well, we'll go down to the condensed section.
All right. Garrett and I are going to go in front to try to chase snakes. I would like Bob and Harry to follow in a pair behind us, about 100 yards or so, and then the rest of the group with Roger behind that.
And if you have never heard the story, the first people into a place where there might be a snake, although I've never seen a snake in here, are the ones that wake up the snake. The second ones are the ones that get bitten. So that shows the value of Bob here and Harry. And us, we'll get to watch all the fun, all the action. We'll watch them dance, you know, as they try to get away. They're